So today we started the process of building the website that we're going to be able to link our smart contract and minting front end to a interface that people can read more about a project, see who the founders are, and get more information as far as what they're actually interacting with. Given we are trying to go to bed at an earlier time, I am going to need to be time conscious today as it's already past 11, but nonetheless, I will show you guys what I worked on and then show you guys a little recap of our habits tracker. So given the website, I think that would still be classified as part of the front end. We're using the same chat that we use from ChatGPT, just so it's easy to follow along with, okay, we've already worked on the minting site. It's able to track, our conversation, the code we use, et cetera, et cetera. So after saving the code that we had used for building the minting front end, I saved it as a name that could just be referenced easily outside of this conversation. And then ChatGPT gave me some ideas for how we could improve the front end. But given I had wanted to go straight into just understanding the process of completely building out a full project, I wrote it a quick prompt to be able to shift it into the direction that I was going to head. So I let it know I wanted to work on building the skills I need to build a project on demand. I wanted to make a website that could be used as a template for additional projects. So, if I have 10 clients who I'm putting their real estate onto the blockchain, I don't need to have 10 completely different looking websites. They could all look very similar based off a template that I use where I'm just editing things like the people who are on the founder, just basic information that's on the site itself. So after giving it the prompt, it pretty much just went to work putting together a plan for the phases we're going to go through, which phase one is just getting the basics done. So everything's set up and making sure navigation is smooth. Next would be enhancing the looks and the feel of the site itself. So just making some improvements. And then three would be testing and refining what we've got down to something that I feel really great about putting on the marketplace. So I let it know this looks like a good start. Let's get going. And then it pretty much just walked me through the first steps, some of which we've gone through today. So the first thing it prompts us to do is running the commands to create the new project. So super simple, just copy and pasted that over into our terminal over here. And then after I pasted it into the terminal gave me a super long message, including some of the errors that I had seen originally, like when we had first started creating the minting interface, like 8 vulnerabilities to moderate, 6 high. We had got the same notification. So I still don't know what this means, but it looks like it wasn't a problem for what we were doing, because after pasting the message, it said perfect. So I was like, all right, bet. So next, it walks us through the steps of setting up the basic page components. And I wanted to make it simple just for starting out because, if I'm wanting to put in all the little nitty gritty details, pretty much just building the entire body up front, it doesn't give me the same level of focus to make sure that the skeleton is fully structured the way we want. So this is our skeleton. We'll put on all the flesh, meat, bones, and whatnot later, but it walks us through the steps of setting up these pages. So we open up our code editor over here, and then we're able to start working on those pages. So pretty much what we had done is we've gone over to SRC, opened it up, we've created a pages folder by just right-clicking, hit new folder, created the pages, and then same thing, we added new file for each of these 4 components. Next, ChatGPT gave us some basic code just to paste into each of those files. So we had gone through, pasted those into each. And then once we were finished, the last thing it prompted us to do was adding this code into the app.js, which we had pasted up here. Now, there was a line that I later had to add to make sure that some visual aesthetics were configured properly, but I'll get into that later. But essentially, we pasted the code in here. We let ChatGPT, we were good to go. And then at the time, I wanted to make sure, because it's like one of those things where, on a test, you're told what's 500 plus 500, and it's 1,000, but you go in your calculator and you just put, 500 plus 500 just to be sure. Pretty much what I did here. So it was just confirming that we're doing this on the code editor. But after that, I had done everything, and then I had gone to run the project in the terminal. And so initially, when I ran the project, the React page, it had looked the exact same as when we had first created the front end for the minting page. I didn't know if it was supposed to look like that, given it had given us some code to paste into each of the files. So I just made sure that was good here. But what I had to fix was just saving. So every time you make edits, you just have to make sure that you save it so that it is being displayed properly on the browser. But after doing that, everything looked the way it was supposed to, and I let ChatGPT know that things were working down here. So next, after confirming we were good to go to the next step, it had prompted us to make some edits with the style of the website itself. And so we had gone into the app.css file, and we'd copy and pasted the code that ChatGPT gave us here. Now, when I first pasted this code, I didn't see any changes on the React page itself, which I thought was kind of weird. It had additionally in this step given me some more stuff to post into each of the pages, which is why this looks a little different than the first code it gave us. So we did everything that it prompted us to, because in the past we had tried to make sure we were doing something properly with one part of a step that it gave us, and then it just led us down a completely different rabbit hole. So pretty much we did everything ChatGPT prompted us to do here. And while I did notice the difference from pasting the code from the homepage, I didn't see any visual aesthetics different from pasting this into the CSS, the app.css file over here. So I was like, what's going on with this? So before addressing this part up here, I just asked it to create some examples for the other 3 pages, it gave us how the home.js file would look. So we copy and pasted this here. We also grabbed the other 3 that it had given us down here. And given we're learning, this is a process that we're going to understand each step that we're doing. I asked it just to give some explanation as far as why we were wrapping it in this div, whatever this means. It pretty much just says that it has the class page wrapped around the existing content. which what I understood from the information that I've given us below, the purpose of that is so that when we make edits in the app.css file, those edits will be reflected on the pages that are wrapped in that div, whatever this is called. Pretty much in between the div, it's going to reflect any changes made in the CSS. So after pasting each of these like it had prompted me to, I then let it know that I, saw the new text, but I wasn't seeing any difference in the browser page itself. And I was like, is it supposed to look different? And ChatGPT was like, yeah, it is. So it walked us through the same steps again, but obviously we had already followed this and it didn't do what we had expected it to. So next I tell it, I followed the steps and made sure to save, but I'm still seeing them changes. The change that I needed to make was over here in the app.js file, and it was to include the import.app.app.css file, pretty much just allowing the interface to make the adjustments that we had outlined in that file itself for the aesthetic visuals of each of the pages. So a simple fix, even though there was a good amount of information to read through here, the main fix was, again, just making sure that this was included at the top of the file, at least in the top portion, because obviously we didn't put it at the very top. Nonetheless, though, it did give us that as the first thing to check. And so once we corrected that, everything had looked good on the page itself. And this is just me here copying and pasting the original app.js code that I had. And it pretty much just confirmed, yeah, you need to add that in there. But after we had made those adjustments and made sure to add this line to our code, we've gone down here and I let it know that I went back to grab the code for the original basic styling that gave us the app that we have here. So this is the very basic start of the website that we're building, the template. But essentially, we've got the home page, the about, a founder's page, and a mint page. So all the basics there. And given it is late, I know I did not do as much as I should have today. But the thing is it was a more productive day than yesterday was. So that's honestly going to be the thing that I focus on. It's just making sure I'm getting better each day rather than, being like, was my day good based on was my day perfect? Because can't always have a perfect day, but I can make sure that I'm constantly improving in different habits, different actions. So what I'm basically trying to say is I know I didn't do a lot today, but we got something done on the boards. And as far as our habits tracker, I'll actually pull that up right now. So we've been working, from like 8:30 up until it's about 11:30 now, still filming obviously. But I'm also gonna pretty much just adjust. God, I hate showing this. Like, yes, I did sleep in until fucking 5. I have this problem where, I've learned to become lucid when dreaming. And so I have more control over when I'm asleep than I do when I'm awake. And I'm a control freak. Anybody who knows me knows I love having things exactly the way I like them to be. So yes, it is a struggle sometimes to get out of bed. But I think if we are literally having to go back and reflect this on our calendar, we're going to feel like so shitty about it, writing down that we didn't do much for like the majority of the day, that in the morning when our alarm goes off, we're going to remember that and we're going to be like, all right, let's make some improvements. So nonetheless, we've been working pretty much this entire time. So I guess we can make the adjustments now down here. And we're still working and it's into 11:30. But nonetheless, our habits tracker, I still need to finish obviously filling this out for today. But pretty much just to go through this, we're currently filming, so this will be done soon. We didn't spend 4 hours on business. We spent a couple hours. We've been working since like 8:30 and it's like 11:30. So we were almost there. But we didn't do anything for all of this, and I still need to eat a final meal for the day. I did eat earlier in the morning, so that's good. And then I'd showered, but like I showered pretty late in the afternoon, so we've got the PM shower. We're currently doing some data entry, but I'm gonna need to finish that later. So all this stuff I still need to do, and then all this stuff I did not do. So obviously that is something to work on. Even dressing the part, like I've got on a fucking tank top. So it is what it is. But nonetheless, once I fill out like brush and floss, pick up room, set out clothes for tomorrow, I am growing out the beard. So like shaving may not be like an everyday thing necessarily, but we're going to do these 3: read, journal, and water before bed. So like if I do all the rest there, while I didn't finish everything that I should be doing during the day, it's still an improvement. So that's the whole goal, getting better each day. And that will be that. So again, I'm just uploading this part just to keep it accountable. This is fucking embarrassing being like, yeah, I really didn't do shit until about 8 today, but is what it is. So that is what we've got for today. We've started the process of building the website. Next, we'll be integrating the steps that ChatGPT pretty much prompts us based on what we had told it we want to do as far as just learning the core components of putting together a project. So with that being said, I am going to finish off the last tasks of the day, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.